There we go. Okay. Someday, it's been 21 years. So there it is. Someday I'm going to have this amazing experience. Let me know, Sharon, if I'm in with that. I think we are. Just give me your thumbs up. Good morning. Let me touch up my do. I had yay. Okay, awesome. Good to see you guys. Today we're going to do something very fun. This has come up because I have a number of really successful client projects. In other words, the clients are doing a great job with their products and they're using this system. And one of the things that seems to be a misunderstanding is what is the difference between taxonomy tags, marketing automation tags, taxonomy categories? Thank you. Good morning, Anne. And this is going to be really useful for you guys because one of the reasons that marketing automation tags are so powerful is how they can be used under the hood. Under the hood. When you have taxonomy tags, I'll show you in a second, you can organize things for the back end and also on the front end. Good morning, Daniel from overseas. And I'm looking forward to having your project start finally. And thumbs up. Okay, thanks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screen share, but I just want to set the stage. What we're talking about is the term tags is used, first of all, for when you have any kind of a post. It could be pages, posts, it could be media items, could be orders and so forth. You can organize it like a librarian using categories and tags. I'll show you, I promise. I'm just setting the stage. When you organize it that way, it allows you to have parents and children, and it allows you to show things on the back end to team members, but also on the front allows us to do things like faceted search. And I'm going to use a live client here today, I think, who's doing very well. I'm also going to show the back end. But when you use it for marketing automation, tags become a binary question. Did you see this? Click this, buy this, do this, subscribe to this. And if somebody has tags, that's a way that we can filter visibility and access. And it's different. So it's like we're using the same term multiple ways. So let's dig in. Let me show you a couple examples. And I believe I can do this without causing any trouble for myself or the client. I'm going to show you only the front end here. And let me make this a little bigger too, because I think this will got to scale this up to fit the window a bit. And let me scale myself over. Sorry, I'm always organizing stuff on the fly. All right, so let's start out with the concept. This is one of my clients that's actually doing really well with supplements. I'm going to use them because I'm very proud of a lot of the stuff that we've done here. And it is an example of how we're using a combination of taxonomy tags as well as marketing automation tags. Now, let's talk about taxonomy tags, or let's talk about taxonomy tags and categories. This is most evident when you're doing some kind of content, let's say, for example, like products. Here we've got a WooCommerce shop that's optimized, and we've done a lot of work to really, really simplify how this thing operates for the end user. We wanted to give an Amazon-like experience. So one of the things we did is we put in a faceted search. But notice I'm saying tags, but in this case, taxonomy categories is one of the main things we did to allow somebody to find products that match. So you'll notice we've got 56 products here, but there are categories that have to do with like the type of product it is, detox, brain health, and so forth. There's categories, same like tags in some ways, deal with packaging. Think of the difference between taxonomy categories and taxonomy tags. It's the difference between a noun and an adjective. A noun is a broad topic: country, city, state, nation, male, female, black, white. If you are using a tag, it's more subtle. It's like an adjective. It's a big country. It's squishy balls. It is a bunch of bananas. Okay. So when you're thinking of using taxonomy, tags are like the the accent that further differentiates individual stuff. Let's look at, for example, spencerforeman.com. Got some content here. I'm not using tags, I'm using categories, same idea. So you could filter out courses, consultants, sponsorship videos, and so forth. You can find where it's located. These are big, broad things. But inside of each thing, I can have individual tags that are like, this one was fun. This one was quick. This one was the best ever. All right. And I'm happy to show you on spencerforeman.com on the back end of this. Let's see if I'm logged in or not. I don't believe I'm selling anything here. So if I go into these posts, let's say here's last week. These posts are really simple because what I'm doing is just using a tool that allows me to link out. But you'll notice that if I look over here, as far as the post, once the page loads, I have the ability to choose from the broad categories, taxonomy wise, Launch Club videos. I add tags like software, WordPress, entrepreneurship. And there's also a difference in WordPress out of the box. If you're using any product, if you're using any post type and it has categories, typically they will have what we call a parent-child relationship or a hierarchy. That is to say, you can organize them by this is the broad parent category of site. And this shows which sites it's on. This is of what type of content it is. That's the parent. And then there's a bunch of children, courses, consultants, posts, software, and so forth. So think of categories for taxonomies as like super broad, super powerful, super fixed containers for organizing stuff. But then think of tags as the salt and pepper or the spice on it. Oh, I'm doing a video for Launch Club that's about software WordPress entrepreneurship. And these can come up on the front end, as most of you know, because they allow you to do what we call dynamic. Let's go and do, let's do a different example. Let's go into, well, let's just have some fun here. Well, actually, I want to see if I have something. I'm thinking out loud that I have to say, let's just make a fun new one. Let's do this together. So let's do try.new plugins launch kit. Let's just launch a site and play with tags live. One of the things I want to show you before I leave Mother Earth News is that if we were to look at any of the particular products, one of the things that we really benefit from on the taxonomy side is notice we're actually using categories here. So categories when it comes to shops or products or things that have a lot of SKUs are very useful because you can display them on the product and they can be used for pulling up similar items, related items. They can be for filtering out immediately. And in doing so, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the URL, but if I click on capsules, for example, that actually has a unique URL. The URL is, let me put it over here. So online text editor. I think I can paste this gigantic huge here so you can see it. That is huge. Okay. So this is the URL. And notice that out of the box, category, like tags, when used for taxonomy, allows us to say, oh, look, there's something called yourdomain.com/product category. Then it lists out the other categories below in a parent-child relationship. So this allows me to have something that like literally I can use on any button, any link, anywhere to immediately pull stuff out without even having to do a dynamic query. There's no like and question mark, category equals or something. It's just literally the URL that is provided by each category. And that would be similarly true, as I'll show you in a second, when we make it with tags. So for organization, for filtering, for pulling up products that match, this is really amazing. Now, one last thing I want to compare to. I'm using a tool here that's in the launch kit called, this one is actually a version of it, but it's faceted search. This is a separate type of plugin. Usually we have in the kit Facet WP that lets you do this. And I want to show you something. If I was to filter by capsules, specifically, not by using the WooCommerce product category, but instead by this. Let's look at the URL and see what's different. So instead of the default category, we get something that looks like this. And you can see here that we still have the original root where we started. That's the same. But look, question mark, query string, and then we've got this filter. In this case, I'm using, I think, a Barden2 plugin, but it's the same as the Facet WP, that it says, and filter true, filter by category equals 147. So this is an example of a dynamic search where using the category or the tag can come in useful, because we can build very, very specific links beyond just list everything. We can literally go down to the product if we wanted to do so. All right. Let's play with this a little together, because then I'm going to come back to these other examples about how the difference is for marketing automation tags. All right. So if we go here, let's just set up LaunchKit real quick. For those of you who are just joining me, have never used LaunchKit, this is an example of how you can have an amazing experience with WordPress without all of the drama of trying to get all your own plugins and having to figure out how they all go together, or figuring out which things break other things. So if we go over here to the installer, all I do is I add my WP Launchify subscription, which you can come and go as you wish for as little as $47 a month for all the stuff you need, $97 a month if you have my personal support as a concierge, which is worth its weight in gold. Okay. What I always do is I just check for the new updates, and I'm just going to put all the plugins in, and we'll turn on just a few things, because for taxonomy purposes, for marketing automation, we don't need a lot. This is just checking to get the latest software. And then what I'll typically do is just install all of it. And then what we can do is, turn on what we need, enable it, and then clean up what we don't. So super fast. Compare that with buying and subscribing to and getting 100 plugins and the cost. Let's just install the Cadence theme, and we're ready to rock and roll. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn on the things that will allow me to have the marketing automation tags, which would be Fluent CRM and WP Fusion. And so to do that, let's go over here. All the rest of the stuff is sort of beside the point at the moment. So let's turn on Fluent CRM at a base level. Where are you, little Fluent CRM? It's in there. It's called something else. There it is. Fluent CRM. We can turn on both the regular and the pro. It doesn't matter. It'll give us what we already have in the kit. And then what we're going to turn on is just WP Fusion. So we have enough to demonstrate the basics of what we're going to do here. So WP Fusion, which will allow us to connect a few things. All right, now, maybe, when I'm thinking out loud, like maybe I'll just turn on the Cadence stuff, because I'm probably going to show you a page and then I'll be like, why doesn't it actually just display the Cadence blocks? Okay, so I'm going to turn on the Cadence blocks, Cadence Pro for the theme, and that way I'll just be able to show everything looks nice. All right, so let's go over here, and using any post type, it could be pages or posts, but let's choose posts, because out of the box that has tags and categories. Let's just take a look at like organizational purposes. Notice in any post type on the left-hand side that if you've got this set up properly, and let's just hide those notices. You will see usually a categories option and a tags option. Now notice with pages, it doesn't have that. Out of the box, that is not a feature that is built into to WordPress for pages, because pages are designed to be sort of standalone stuff. However, one could enable this if you wanted to use it for pages. For posts, it's already there, categories and tags. And when we do custom post types, whatever it may be, whether it's media library items, or whether it's products in WooCommerce, or whether we create a custom post type for ourselves, then that typically displays as well. You'll notice media library by itself doesn't have it, but if we created something custom, we can add categories and tags. All right, so let's do an example here where categories, and I'm lumping this in, we can make a category that's a broad topic like a noun. So let's do posts about Spence posts. When I add a new category, this is like adding a new big Tupperware box. This is like adding a noun versus something else. posts about other people. Other people posts. Now, what I can do is just use those to distinguish and filter and sort posts that come out about Spence or about other people. But there's magic under the hood. Let's go over real quick before we do more. Let's go to WP Fusion and turn it on and set it up with Fluent CRM. So if we go over here to Fluent CRM, we can just engage this. Fluent CRM, this site. And there's not much we have to do other than just like make a list. So let's just make a list because I want to show you how this will work out in a second with the taxonomy. If we go to Fluent CRM and we go to settings, we'll just set this up real quick. Spence, and let's just give a main list. We only need one list. We don't need two because all the business clients should be in one ballroom talking to each other. And we're going to use tags to differentiate between the things that are about them. So let's just do, let's do two unique tags, right? So Spence topics, other topics, which I'll use in a second. Okay. All right, now I'm done. I've got the CRM and I can turn on some basic stuff if I want, which will allow us to synchronize the users automatically. So this is really simple. These are in the documentation items. But if I go over here to settings, general settings, we're going to sync the user data and the CRM data. And we're going to create a new contact whenever somebody registers, like manually or otherwise, and we'll add them to that list. And that's it for now. Okay. So what we got now is a CRM to store data about a particular person, but we can also use that data to give them visibility. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's go back over to what I was showing you, which is we're going to be in posts categories. Post about other people, post about Spence. Let's do organizational. Let's add a couple adjective tags. Tags. Okay. Exciting news. Okay. Let's do boring news. Let's do a big title. Boring news. And let's do one other one. And then Alan has a question here. Let's do a drama. There's a lot of that word for us these days. Drama news. Okay. Alan asked a question. I ran into a problem where Fluent Forms will not set text based on form entries, but would let me assign context to different lists. I think it is, but I'm going to also, you bring up something I want to just differentiate. You really should not have separate lists ever, unless you've got people that you don't ever want to be in both lists. For example, when you set up the Fluent CRM, imagine a hotel that's having a convention. Everybody who comes in the hotel has name tags showing what they do, see, click, where they're from. What's easier, Alan, or everybody? If everybody was in the atrium and there's 10,000 people there and anybody can be called out by, well, all the people from Spencer Foreman Company, please come to the front. Everybody's in the room. Or if you start looking around, you can see and segment like who has the purple tag instead of the opposite, which would be, what if it was the old-fashioned thing and there was 10 ballrooms and everybody went into one of those ballrooms, but you're looking for Spence and his purple tag. Which ballroom is he in? I don't know. And what if he's supposed to be in two places at one time? He can't be. You'd have to duplicate him with some magical machine. Maybe someday. I want to use tags, but the limitation of the Fluent Form, right. So with marketing automation, I'll show you the Fluent Forms part. With marketing automation, the basic concept is, as I'll show you, we want to have one list. That way we can use lots of cool tag stuff to differentiate. And I'll show you how this works in a second. So I'll come back to that. All right. So now we've got some adjectives. What the hell does this mean then, Spence? Well, let's make a post. This is taxonomy still. Categories and tags. New post. And I want to talk about something. Let's figure out the news about WordPress. And we could say, could be about Spence or drama or things or other people Well, how do we differentiate what this is about? Well, obviously, the search engines and the search tools you put on your site can filter based upon keywords, but that's kind of squishy. Let's use the taxonomy. On the right hand side, we've got the big taxonomy. Well, what is this about? Don't do everything. It doesn't work if it's always everything, because then you're not being like a good librarian. I would say, according to Spence. Okay, guess what that does? This is a post about Spence. Obviously, it could be about other people, but then that doesn't really do a lot of filtering. So at the category level for taxonomy, try to be broad. Try to think of it like, I live in North America or South America. I live in Europe or Asia. Not like I live in Mexico or the United States or Canada, you know. So post about Spence. Now, here's where we can get squishy. We can start adding new tags. Yellow sweatshirts. Crazy news. Or some of the ones that we actually had here that I was editing. When we look at our tags, what were some of the other ones? Boring news, crazy news, drama news, right? So boring. And when you type that, notice it'll show up. I can choose from it. Okay. I've just gotten one big category as a taxonomy. I could do two, but one is nice. And then I've got taxonomy tags. And that means that when I publish this, I will have a filter built in that can be used with other tools like the faceted search and the display on the sidebar, or it can be used with direct linking. Let's look at the posts. And notice right now, it just out of the box, the Cadence shows the category. It doesn't show the tag, but notice below there's tags. Okay. If I clicked on yellow sweatshirts, guess what? Let's look at that URL. Come on, kids. Let's look at the URL. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Domain name /tag /yellow sweatshirts. Pretty freaking cool, isn't it? Like, let's just think about what we've got here. If I click on posts by Spence, let's look at that. Let's go to the Blackboard, kids. I've got the URL category Spence posts. Pretty cool. Because what I'm able to do is say, I can take any piece of content, in this case, posts, and I can make any number of posts and assign them from a taxonomy standpoint. Let's get over there. I can assign categories as broad organizational tools, like show me Mother Earth Labs, right? Show me all the capsules. I can go more granular if we would, I don't use tags here, but like if I'd use tags like green labels, easy to swallow, 100 per package. I can make more taxonomy items for tags to get granular about it. And when I do, I can then build up 3 types of links. I can build up static links, which are based on category, static links, which are based on tag, or I can do dynamic filtering things, which combine a lot of stuff together. And what that does is it does a WP query, pulls out the matching posts, whether they be regular posts or pages or media items or products or anything. Now let's try to do something together. Let's go over here. I'm not sure if I can pull this off. This usually requires a faceted search tool, but let's just see what happens. If I go here into the posts, I'm not sure. What I want to do is I want to see if this will combine the two together without a special tool. I'm not sure if it does it out of the box, but let's just see. Hold on. I'm gonna merge these two worlds. So see where it says tag category. I'm gonna do a quick search. I'm not sure. Can I do tags and category search in one URL string with WordPress? I know I can do it when I use the faceted search tool, but I don't know if I could use them both together. Let's look at what somebody else has said. Yeah, I don't think so. Right. So this is only done by way of a special tool. Now, here's where the special tool comes in. Like I use faceted search on these various sites. I can actually install it here and set it up. But let's just look at something like where we're at today, WP Launch Kit documentation. Here, we have a special tool that like does very similar to what I just showed you, where we can use filter. And in doing so, we've got this dynamic string here. And I'm not going to get into too much detail. Maybe if I have a minute after the marketing automation, I'll show you how to set this up. But with Facet WP, we can essentially do this thing that allows us to have a query string. That's something that starts with a question mark. And we can layer lots of different specific filters in there. Category must be this, tag must be that. And that way we can get both a category about Spence and we can get boring news. I just don't think we can do the two together because the way that WordPress works, it doesn't have that capacity in it. It's like a very old fashioned, like you're in this folder or you're in that folder. But it's still very powerful because one of the things you could do is if you have a search result about post about Spence, you could have other tags that are shown on this page to show what's available. And you can do this a lot of different ways. One of the ways inside of Cadence, you could put something in the filter itself for what's displays, or we can also do it over here in the design components. So when you're doing, let's say, a category summary page, an archive page, Cadence will allow you to use a page with either a sidebar or a header that has listing out all the tags. Let me show you what that might look like. So if I go to post and page layout, archive layout, these are for archive pages, and I can decide what might show. I got breadcrumb, title, description, narrow, full width, and so forth. If I were to choose a sidebar page, maybe left sidebar, then what I can do is I can edit what shows up. And one of the things I can do is just put in like a tag cloud is one of the things I can do, right? So in this case, let's edit the recent posts, get rid of that. And we're just using the widget editor here. So let's get rid of that doodad. And let's get rid of recent comments. We don't really need that. And we can just add, I'm pretty sure we can add a tag cloud. Let's see. Tag cloud. Okay. So this is a little old fashioned, but like watch what this does. This gives me the ability, if I just listed out a category page, and again, design whatever you want. It doesn't have to look like anything I'm showing you. This is just for simplicity. Okay. Notice it's very tiny. I can make the letters bigger. I can set the settings on this probably, but show more settings. Maybe make 16 pixels. Okay. This shows on the page like, okay, I'm here at the category of posts about Spence, boring news. And what's interesting is it actually achieves, without using any faceted search, almost the same result, but in a weird way. Because notice, for example, this is like all tags for all posts, but it does allow me to drill down. If I went back over here to just regular posts, which I think should be under blog. No, let's set that up too. Let's make a blog archive page. For that in Cadence, we just go add new. And we'll call this blog, publish. And we just set that in settings general. So this is an old, in settings reading. Anybody who's used WordPress forever knows this is how we do this. We have a home page, right? And we have a blog post page. And if we want, we can also add that to the menu real quick. So we'll just add both of these. We'll call it primary menu. We'll add both of these. Okay. So what we've got now is if we went to the blog posts, which will list all of the posts, we'll see the ability to see it's post about Spence on categories. If I go to on categories, I could still choose from one of these tags. So it works kind of both ways. It allows me the ability, if I want, to have like an archive where I could also list out, even not using faceted search, I could list out categories and tags, and it just drills down further. Now, let's get into marketing automation tags. What is the difference? The difference, going back to what I talked about, is that I have tags that we created at the beginning. Get over here, tags, inside of Fluent CRM. These have magical capabilities because we can control not only tracking what somebody sees and giving them these tags, but we can use that to control access or adjust visibility, like see it, don't see it, or change colors. I created other topics and Spence topics. Now, let's talk about the basics. If I wanted to make Spence topics only available to somebody who had the tag as a person, as a contact of Spence topics, what I would do is I would go to the particular posts, and I can do this, by the way, at the post level, or I can do this at the category level. If I do it at the post level and I edit, I can say this post is only going to be seen to somebody if they've got the tag Spence posts. And I do that by scrolling down here to WP Fusion, saying user must be logged in to view this post. Why? Because we really cannot track strangers. We can only track people that are registered and logged in, even if it's automatic, because that's how we access their profile and know that they are them. Otherwise, they're just some random browser on some random device in some random place of the world. So by being users that are logged in, we essentially say this is like a health club or a country club. You got to come inside to do what you need to do. Costco. Once you're inside and you've used your card, we know who you are while you're shopping, which is awesome for you, awesome for us. Okay. Notice where it says required tags any. If I say Spence topics, now I'm using marketing automation tag of you must have this tag, sir, madam, of Spence topics, or else you will not be able to see this entire post. And I can do one of two things to you. I can either redirect you to another URL, like, why don't you sign up for my membership site to get access to this? Or I can show the restricted content message that is global, which is usually something, as I'll show you, called like, oops, you need to be a member in order to see this, right? So I'll show you what that is. Out of the box, WP Fusion provides in settings, WP Fusion, a global message that looks like this. Oops, you don't have permission to view this page. All right. If I don't want to show the oops message, but I still want to custom, guess what I can do? I can just type a special message here. I can just go ahead and add whatever I want, as well as I can put an outside URL. All right. So how do I do the custom message? I got to go into WP Fusion settings, and then I have to check this little checkbox per post message. If you didn't catch that. So that I can make a custom message here when I refresh this page. Let's save this for a second. And we refresh the page, and I'll be able to, like, instead of oops, I can say, hey, this is a Spence post. You must join for doing whatever. And how do I do that? Now I have this custom box. Hey, you need to get the Spence post membership. Click here. And what you would do is you would just use the link, if you wanted, that goes to the membership side of things. So I have 3 ways of protecting content with a simple tag without doing more. 1, using WP Fusion and just saying required tags, and it could be any of many. Or you could say you need all of them. So maybe you're layering on 2 tags or 3 or 4. You could also do the opposite. So this is useful if you have content, for example, that you don't want to be seen by certain people, but you do want to have seen by others. You can say, if you've got this, I don't know, this Roblox, whatever this thing is, tag, then you can't see this, it works both ways. You can do either direction. And then we've got a redirection or a custom message option. So I can either redirect them to a page like sample page or something, or my membership, or I could just type in a URL, wplaunchify.com. That will take them somewhere else. Or I can just show the message, right? Which is here, that can either be my custom message or the standard oops message, which gives me a great amount of control. Now, let's compare what these do. I just showed you as an example how tags can be used along with categories as a filtering mechanism for visibility and organization and display. It's a way to say, I've got a giant Tupperware container that's a noun, that's categories. I've got a more descriptive container that's like an adjective. I can have lots of big Tupperware containers that represent bigger topics, expense topics, boring topics, this topics. But I can also have those more granular adjectives that I can use for any or all of them, which allows me to layer them together. And even using just the out of the shelf or off the shelf visibility components, I can show them to anybody. But then this is where marketing automation kicks in. Who of the audience should see the stuff that's filtered or even be able to see the filters for that matter? That's where marketing automation tags come in. And I have to tell you, you got to start with, even though it's possible to use cookies, you got to start with the concept of using registered and logged in people, as I've talked about all these many, many moons, because we can do that instantly with Fluent Forms or with a free product from WooCommerce, because then we know it's actually Spencer Foreman with his actual email and we can track his behavior. Now, one of the cool things is we can actually see what he's done. So let's say Spence views this page. Let's turn off this. So, and by the way, let's just get rid of this requirement. So now anybody can see this page again. But let's track if somebody has seen this page using tags. Let's create a new tag called viewed Spence post. This is awesome for knowing if somebody came to your webinar or saw your offer or viewed a product or has gotten some other thing where we just need to know, did they show up? But instead of doing it via a cookie, we're doing it via this bulletproof method. And what I like to do is refresh the tags and fields to make sure that this shows up properly in the CRM. Or sometimes I'll just go to the CRM and make sure that it's there natively. Okay, so it's there. So what this means is I'm setting this up where if somebody views this, we're going to be able to track them as a registered and logged in user as getting the tag, right? Super cool. Let's try this. And by the way, there's another option here. Remove the tag on view. So let's say, for example, you give somebody a tag when they register and sign up. It says, should probably check out my webinar. Not many words. If they go to the webinar page, you can just remove the tag. Probably should check out my webinar, which means that you can then do an automation looking for whether or not they still have the tag. Probably should check out my webinar. I'll show you this in a second. Let's make a new user that I can use for testing. And for this, I'm going to actually use the Login Me Now tool that's included in LaunchKit because it's so super simple. Login Me Now. This gives me the ability to do switching, user switching. So what I'm going to do is create a user here, add new. And again, we've covered this in other topics. We'll call this test user at testing.com, test user at testing.com, Bob Tester. Okay. We're going to add them to the CRM as a subscriber. I don't know if I'm going to remember this, so I'm not going to worry about it, but let me copy and paste it somewhere just in case I need that. This amazingly strong password. Okay. When we add this new user, let's be this person for testing purposes to see what happens if they visit that page. Okay. In order to make sure that we can find that page, let's first of all go to our appearance menus and add that page in. We'll just put all top level pages in here. Oh, it's already a sample page, but like that should be fine. And let's make sure it shows up. I'm just doing a little housekeeping here with, I'm going to do a top level menu just so I have it in the header. Primary navigation, set that to strange. we'll just add these two things: sample page, blog. Okay, now that I can get to it, let's actually switch to this person. So using this tool, I can go over to all users, and even though I'm the admin, let's refresh this page. I'll be able to correct. Yes, got them in there. Thank you. I need to just go to the log me now and activate that feature. Hold on one second. User switching. Click, click. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong person. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that's good. Here it is. So let me switch to, it was already on. I'm having a coffee moment. So now I'm switched to this person, and let's go to the front end, because what we want to do is they're going to go to the sample page and view it. And again, I'm not 100% sure this will work using the Switch to plugin, but it should work in the sense that I'm logged in now as this person. I'm going to browse back and forth once. This should apply the tag to them in the CRM. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it's not possible that while I'm in the middle of this demonstration that my try.new site has expired. That would be remarkable. They canceled it out in literally 40 minutes. But if that's the case, then I'm going to have to go to plan B. Let's see. Oh, come on, guys. This is crazy. All right, well, I'm going to have to explain this to you, or I'll launch again. I was using try.new as a quick way to demonstrate some of these things. This used to cancel after 2 hours. Apparently now it cancels after 30 minutes. So let me go back over here. Zip WP. What I was going to show you, and hopefully I can restore this real quickly, is that it'll essentially give a tag when the person views the page, right? Which is awesome. That's what we're trying to shoot for. And they'll show up in the CRM. Interesting. Maybe because I wasn't logged in as me, it just lost it. But that's okay. Let me just... I hesitate to do a whole brand new site, so I'm not going to do that. But I'll just show you where the tags will show up. Note to self, don't use try.new for demos anymore, unless I'm going to be very fast. Fortunately, this also kind of demonstrates how quickly you can get set up with LaunchKit. So that's actually pretty cool. I just install LaunchKit. Only takes about maybe 60 seconds to get everything running. So let's see if I can put us back to a place to show you that last point about the marketing automation, which I think is important. And not 100% sure why for demonstration purpose, I'm not sure why try.new has such a short 30-minute death sentence, but c'est la vie. Okay, all I want to do here is just to finish out this point, and then I'll show you on the other live sites. Let me just at least turn on Fluent CRM, because what is going to happen is that the person who has visited the page, in this case, the test user, is going to end up getting the tag for having viewed it. Let's see if I can get both those turned on real quick. All right. So if we had the contact in here, I'm just going to kind of recreate this. And it was, viewed Spence post. Okay. What would happen is this: the person would end up being in the CRM, and you would now have an understanding for that individual. Test visitor at testing.com. Let's say they're on the main list. You would have a situation where they would end up with the tag of viewed Spence post. Why is this relevant? Okay. So to put us back in context, for the global general public, whether they are logged out or logged in, they don't have any marketing automation other than if we decide to prevent them from seeing stuff. Like, for example, in the post that I just said with whatever the categories and tags, if I don't want the public to see it, that they need to be logged in, there is an option built in, which is part of WordPress that just says only logged in people can see it. But once they're logged in, that's when marketing automation tags become very useful because, as I just showed you, I can add a tag to somebody because they viewed a page, or I can give a tag to somebody and then remove it if they viewed a page. I can use a tag for the purposes of visibility control globally. Like, for example, if I want to prevent a post or a page from being seen, I can just say, you can't see this unless you are logged in and you have the tag. But I can also do a thing with categories. So let's go back over now to, even though this isn't the same as before, posts categories. Watch what I can do where I merge these two worlds together and I create, like I said, Spence posts. What if I want to say, listen, any blog post, any custom post type that has a category of Spence posts is only going to be visible if the person has the right tags. I need to actually turn on here. Sorry, I need to turn on WP Fusion real quick in order for this to work. This is a good example, by the way. People ask me, do I need WP Fusion if I've already got Fluent? And I'm like, yeah, here's one of the good reasons why. It does stuff well beyond the scope of what Fluent CRM can do on its own. And it's so simple to set up. Right. All right. So I just save changes and then I'll just sync the tags. And let's go back over here to posts categories. And I'm going to show you this magic trick where we bring these two worlds together. This is saying if a post has a category, let's restrict access to it in some meaningful way if somebody wants to access those posts. Or I can apply a tag if somebody views any post that has that category. So let's use the reverse one first. We just talked about how if somebody views the page or post that has a tag that says apply viewed Spence post to it, we can do it for each individual post. But wouldn't it be cool if we could just like give a category, even if it's not visible, to all of the posts that we want that to work on? So we don't have to do it every single one. Just use this, use the category as a wrapper. And then this will mean that anybody who actually sees any post with the category, the taxonomy category of Spence post, will get the tag. So that's just, you can have 10,000 different posts, and as long as it has the category applied to it of Spence posts, the people who view it will get a tag, which means in the future you could segment out. Send me an email to everybody who ever saw this. Super easy. Webinars, events, sales pages, everything you might need under the sun. It's a great way to give a disposable, like, temporary receipt that says, like, did you see this? Did you not see this? Let's do it the other way around. And I don't think these would go together, so you'd probably use either or. We could restrict access to all things that have the tag, marketing automation tag of Spence post. So this is like taking that little box from the side of the post type and we're putting it in the category of the post types so it applies to many posts. Require tags, and then same thing, restrict access. Either show the message or go to a certain page, put a URL in, and so forth. We have this other really nuclear option. There's two of them. Restrict access to all posts. This is the one that we want to do that will make it apply to everything that has the category of Spence post. Hide term. Now, this is an interesting one. When we, out of the box by default, use this option, it will let you see the search results that there are posts called Spence posts. But it will only show a limited amount of stuff. It'll show whatever we set up in WP Fusion. So it could be the title, a summary, a certain number of words. But if you just don't want it to show up at all, you want it to be ghosted, then you do this one. Now, this is an expensive thing. It's not expensive as like filtering all posts of any post type, but it's expensive because this essentially has to modify the WP query for any of those pages like I started with that shows a category archive. It has to literally say, check who is logged in here. and get rid of anything that doesn't apply, like hide all the Spence posts unless they have the tag. So it's expensive. I wouldn't do this all over your site because it's just going to make the experience slightly slower for people. But as a selective tool, extremely powerful. So let's review. What we've got is taxonomy categories, taxonomy tags for organizing and filtering and displaying different stuff, even without using a special tool, but even more if you have a special tool like a faceted search tool, Facet WP. Once we display stuff, we've got these unique links that allow us to just hard code, show me all the sweatshirts, show me all the categories of Spence posts. But we've also got tags, which again, we have to use a special plugin for, or you have to do what I showed you, which would be like stack the tags onto the category page in a way that somebody can just pick and choose from a tag cloud or a list or something. It's kind of the same thing, to be honest. Like all the faceted search does is it's a fancy interface for doing the same exact thing, whether you're using categories or tags or you're using random search. Like here, if I did directory, I can mix and match tags, categories, and keyword search into one interface. Very simple. But now we're talking about access control and tracking somebody's journey. If we want to track the journey of the user to see if they've looked at certain content, if we want to protect certain content globally from either being seen as a whole, found in a search, or even accessing, that is where we're going to use the marketing automation tags. It's the same word, different meaning altogether. And we can use it both for proactively preventing things from being seen or for tracking if something has been seen. So if we went back here to Fluent CRM and we wanted to say, let's look at the contacts and say, who's got the viewed Spence post? I want to send them out a special email, right? So we create a new automation here. Send message to all people who viewed Spence posts or posts. We could say tag applied, and the tag is viewed Spence posts. And it could be applied again singularly or because they just clicked on a category of anything that had that as part of the deal. And we can restart this multiple times. So for example, let's say you have an automation that does a message and then removes the tag. It just like they can go through this a million times, right? So what I would probably do here is I'd wait a day. And then what I would do is I'd send a custom email, or I could add them to a group or something, hey, thanks for viewing the Spence post, whatever. Okay. Then I would remove the tag. Okay. Remove from tag and get rid of it. And then end the automation. So what I did right there is, for those of you who are not super familiar, the marketing automation capability of Fluent CRM is so amazing because now I have these tags on somebody's epaulet inside of the giant ballroom, right? The atrium where there's 10,000 people. And I can create a custom thing as quickly as this. It says, find everybody who has this tag on their chest, wait a day, send them an email that says you're awesome, then remove the tag and wait till they go back to the buffet and they do something like view a Spence post and get the tag again, because then I can send them a second one or a third one. And you can layer this, like if you want to keep track of multiple tags. So, sequential, different messages if it's the second time they got it. I mean, so many cool things. But so to sum this up, the marketing automation tags are how we continue the relationship, track the journey, automate certain things, and we can also control visibility. Now, here's one other trick I want to show you, which is something we did on Mother Earth Labs. Mother Earth Labs has wholesalers, and wholesalers have a different relationship when it comes to subscriptions. They can't do subscriptions, and they don't get access to certain product deals. This is for retail customers. If we were to take this and preview this, let's see if this will work here. Notice by adding the tag to me as a sample user, I'm able to see a completely different arrangement. This is an example of how we can use tags to create logic that alters the user's experience. On the one hand, I'm a wholesale customer. I have a tag wholesale customer. If I remove that and I'm a regular customer, a retail customer, I will not see that. I will see the retail options. And that actually applies even to let's add something to the cart. This is super powerful, super cool. And I'm really excited about this because there's a lot of things with this client that we did custom that I'm going to build in a launch kit and launch flows. First of all, notice I've got this new bar. This will be a new feature called your return to previous page, return to shop. This is super handy so that somebody can immediately be sent to the checkout and review their order. But if they want to go back to the previous page, now it's just as simple as click and they're back, right? Super, super simple. And for a lot of people, that was just a tool that doesn't really exist without custom coding. But in terms of visibility, let's do the same thing on checkout. Look at the shipping options here for a retail customer. Let's change this to a wholesale customer. You'll notice we have some really cool stuff going on here. Supplement business, same concept. This is a supplement business. Two things. Look what we've got. Number one, it showed up and then it disappeared. But as I say, number one, we have discounts that will apply, wholesale discount. The reason that this isn't showing right now and it's leaving is because I'm in the preview mode. The preview mode won't do it, but I'll explain it to you. Otherwise, I have to change my profile. What is happening here is that a person who's a wholesaler will get actually different options provided to them in terms of discounts, in terms of shipping options, and so forth. We can control that logic on the back end, which is super, super powerful. One of the ways that we can also do that, even if we're just using here, WP Fusion, things like applying automatic discounts. Okay, so right out of the box, if we had WooCommerce installed, we can apply a discount coupon to somebody who has the tag of viewed spends posts. We can filter and display different menu options based upon having the tag or not having the tag of this, that, or the other. We can do conditional drip content that like they need to get a tag over a certain period of time and then something unlocks. So if we sum this all up, I could probably go on for hours about this. Tags, along with their cousin categories, are used for organizing a giant bucket of post type stuff, posts or pages or media items or whatever. Just a big swimming pool full of ping pong balls. It allows you to organize and display it uniquely. Tags for taxonomy is for granularly, like an adjective, adding a little more punch, whereas categories is more big concept. White ping pong balls, yellow ping pong balls, and then big, small, broken, crunchy, those are more tags. Tags in the marketing automation world are used for giving somebody a badge, if you will, on their sleeve, on their chest, that allows you to segment them. And in doing so, we can track their journey, but we can also use this for changing visibility of things. And we can do it on a singular post. We can do it inside of content, which I've shown you in the past. Like one page could have 2 or 3 different posts entries, and you can just say, show this or don't show this if they have the tags. Or it can be used even for things like filtering the WP query and showing only options on the menu that are available to you if you've got a certain tag. I think that's enabled here. I'll show you that. And that one's pretty cool. If we go back just to the menu items, appearance, sorry. That's weird. Let's refresh that. I got to turn on the cadence theme here. Hold on. Appearance themes. Let's put on cadence. I want to show you one cool thing. I can install this from LaunchKit too. That would be just as easy, but I just want to show you one thing that's interesting. When you've got WP Fusion enabled, you can go inside of Cadence. I don't think you need the Pro for this. Let's see. And if you say primary menu, watch this. You can even filter menu items. So if we go inside of Add to menu. Save. Okay. If we open this up, WP Fusion menu settings. Who can see this? Logged in users, logged out users, right? That's first of all the main WordPress differentiator. If it's a logged in user, oh, how awesome is this? You need to have a tag or not to see this thing, right? I don't know if I created one, Spence. Yeah, viewed Spence post. If you don't have the tag, you don't get to see the menu item. This is really, really powerful because it's as simple as like I can have one menu for everybody, but different things show up depending on which tag they have. Like if they're a wholesale customer and so forth. All right. So I want to say, hopefully this is clarified a bit, something that is a broader topic. But once you get this down, like get it in your head. That's when you do this. You go like, all right, I got to figure it out. Okay. So I want to invite everybody to use Launch Kit. Come on over to WP Launchify, get a $97 a month or a $47 a month. Doesn't matter to me, but if you go with the $97 a month, you're going to get all the Spence all the time, which at least for the first month is going to be awesome because I can help guide you. And I also have hands-on help, but just for the $97 a month, you get both all the software hosted properly on Rocket. You get the full software bundle access, unlimited use, unlimited number of clients. But for many people, having the email access to me to ask questions allows me to do this concierge thing where, yes, I do have documentation, but I can point you directly to this. Any of you guys here today that I've seen asking questions have done this. Alan and Sharon and Daniel, everybody here who's at least asked a question has had this happen. That's my forte. So I appreciate you guys coming along. Give it a try if you haven't already, if you're seeing this video after the fact, because what I'm intending to do is make WordPress into a service so that we can avoid really all of the stuff that isn't so appealing and just focus on the stuff that works. A duplicate of a marketing automation site, a community site like school. You can do any of the things you need for a consulting business. We have clients that are doing lots of other product businesses or service businesses, whether they're startups or whether they're multi-million-dollar businesses. We cover them all and it scales perfectly. So you essentially just get the end result you need and know that you've always got a concierge in a yellow vest with some cool shades on. I look forward to seeing you go next week. Friday is going to come here as fast as anything. Hope you enjoy the last of the fall weather. I am scheduled for surgery November 4th. I'm letting you guys know. I do not think that is a Monday. I do not think it'll interfere with my Friday, but I may have some trouble sitting. So for a heads up, I got like 2 weeks left, and then I may have a couple days that I take off, but I'll still be servicing all my client needs. If you have any questions or you're interested, please join me at wplaunchify.com. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. Peace. Have a good weekend.